the quality of the water is critical. In some areas where the pH might be as high as 8.9 or 8.5 to 8.9, then that has an impact on that crop. And typically if your water is that situation where at least where we're irrigating, you have some ways to control that. In areas in the country where you're dependent more on rain, that's less of a consideration. But still, the impact of that, the water in conjunction with your soil pH from the soil analysis, again, how important that is. We needed to determine how you're going to water that. You're going to do it with a drip irrigation system, you're going to do flood irrigating, or you're going to do sprinkler like with a pivot. Those all have impacts on the crop depending upon where you're growing it. How dry is the climate? Are you dealing with high humidity and high heat? Are you dealing with low humidity and high heat? Early frost, late frost? All those things are very critical in planning a successful grow.
I think what we're saying here is you have to study the history of the field. You have to check the weather patterns. You have to have a plan in place of where you're going to get your water, how you're going to apply it. What are the secrets to what that farm has done over the past 5 years? A few years ago, people in Fallon, Nevada ran out of water. And even though they said we have water rights on paper, there was just no water in the reservoirs. And so have a backup plan. If you have farmed this ground successfully for 50 years and you've never run out of water, you have a pretty good shot at it. If you're on the brink of running out of water annually, have a backup plan. It's going to take a lot of water applied at the correct times in order to be a successful hemp farmer.
And one of the issues that we run across with the history, again with the soil, is what's been put on that soil in the past. Has it been loaded up with nitrogen, any of the NPK? Has it been loaded up with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides to maintain the control of the pest infestations? Those kinds of issues with your soil are critical because this is a crop where the quality of the oil is essential. And if you have residual in that oil of any of those chemicals, it's going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem selling that crop.
Have a plan in mind. Figure out exactly where you're going to get your water, how you're going to treat your soil, what nutrients are going to go in place. This is a fun plant to grow, and if you just take a few seeds and throw them in the field, they'll grow. And you can say, I'm a hemp farmer because I'm a hemp grower and I grew hemp. But if you don't do it, if you don't have a plan in place, if you don't start with the genetics, if you don't go all the way to where's this crop going to be sold, then you're going to be a hemp farmer and not a successful hemp grower. We want you to be successful at what you do. We want you to make money with this crop.
Another issue that I just recently was exposed to an issue of contamination just from being nearby a cornfield or an orchard. Nice piece of ground. I went to do an evaluation on it, and across the street there's orchards, and when they fog those orchards, and that fog can, it can drift for a mile. And if you're planting within a mile of some potential source of contamination, you are risking your crop, and that's just too great a risk. I mean, it's expensive to raise this crop. You don't want to have to hassle your neighbors because they need to do some things for their crop, and it's going to impact you very negatively.
Keep in mind that the end use of this product is to be consumed by human beings in some form. As I mentioned earlier, it might be a gel cap, it might be a smokable, but people are going to consume this. So before you even think about what you're going to put on your plant or on your soil or in your water. Think about the fact that someday somebody's going to consume the product you grow, and there's a good chance that whatever you put there, they will consume it. So let's be very careful about what we put on our crops, how we treat our crops, and keep in mind the end use is a consumable product.